The old moon dwindles and his powers wane. You will find the north half Viking, half Druid, water skiing near the thaw mouth of the sea with 2 icebergs for feet.
The second session in the late afternoon was chaired by Pia Tafdrup from Denmark and had readings by Thangjam Singh from India, Mr. George Zertis from the UK, and Tamilanban from India.
Silver hair and patriotic moustaches, their straight backs, their handsome, faintly malicious smiles, their authority, their quiet gravamen. They are assuredly the very soul of the nation, who look to assure us and strive to look reassuring, exemplars of uprightness, objects of admiration, who have always been there and are the enduring face of the people for which the nation has fought.
Bathing in a drop's quiet light, I remember how I came into being, a pencil stuck in my hand, my mother's cool hand around mine. It was warm, and then we rode in and out between coral reefs, an undersea alphabet of arches and apexes, of snail shell spirals, of starfish points, of gesticulating octopus arms, of cave walls and rock formations.
The book exhibition continued to be on display during the World Poetry Festival. The display showcased the achievements of the Akademi in the last 60 years. Award-winning titles from 24 recognized languages since 1954 were exhibited apart from the photo exhibition. The day concluded with a spellbinding dance performance by Kavita Dwivedi titled Shwet Mukti, the feminine glory of Nirvana.
A gripping journey into the compassionate world of womanhood.
Shwet Mukti is a poetic journey of 5 women characters who are deeply different from each other, yet longing for one goal. Their search is eternal. It is an attempt to enlighten the mystic self of womanhood. It is a story about women's liberation and self-discovery.
It's a great initiative. I can only compliment the Kala Academy, the Sahitya Akademi for doing this great event where Kala Academy brought us so many poets from all over the world, and we are very much honored to have our poet, Mr. Topinka, representing the Czech Republic as well at the World Poetry Festival.
I like it so much. I like the climate here, I like the people here, and we are treated so well. And I must admit, I'm so surprised at what you have done for us already. The first session here has been overwhelming, a very warm introduction, and I just look forward to listen to my colleagues, and I hope I can present my poems this afternoon. So I'm so glad to be here. It's always very important opportunity when poets gathers. It's so different from what politicians are able to do, and I mean, we listen to each other, we will understand each other's culture in a way not always as the politicians are able to. So I think for the world, and the meetings are so important. The way we get to know each other by spending several days together.
It's a great honor for him to be at this festival, and especially because it's related also with Tagore, that makes a turning point in his life when he was 16 years old. he read the poems of Tagore.
I feel really honored to be here in India for the World Poetry Festival because Seychelles is a very small island. And to be here as a Seychellois, I'm like an ambassador for my country. And it is really a great honor for me. I think that this initiative is the best that could be. Bringing poets together is like bringing the whole world together because poetry is a form of art that I see as the art that brings people together through words and feelings, emotions. And I think it is just a great opportunity that the Sahitya Akademi has given us all poets.
The second day of the festival began at 10 a.m. with Tanure Ojaide from Nigeria in the chair. The readings were by poets Kamal Vora from India, Les Wicks from Australia, Desmond Kharmaplang from India, and Chandrakant Devtale from India.
And the sun is totally eclipsed by the wings of the crow. Now only a blue shimmers in all its shades, and the tip of the crow beak, and the tip of the crow's beak, deep and round, is the epicenter of a belly's navel.
I blame you and the island. There's an electronica, champagne, strange tinnitus that I wear like a lei. Faint complaint from our hearts, all the uniforms are bleached. We joke about hooking up a drip, setting oxygen tanks beside your breathless bed. King parrots attend to the gust while afternoon storms, then moonblaze orbit that smile that we can make that has never been photographed. You, sometimes so serious doctor who can both navigate the veins and be pulse.
Last night I dreamed that I was a sperm swimming in the womb of folklore. I was born an idea and delivered into a naked nation. Mating with the elements, I was raised on speeding clouds skywards to be forged in fire. Rain bore me to earth and I crawled on all four, scribbling ragged mythology on the subsoil of time.
Gently and steadily, the old man pulls the thread of the loom. Then, he limps his way through the rugged terrain that stretches before him, but outpaces strides of those without age or other kinds of challenges. Then, the cotton tree stands unnoticed amidst iroko and palm trees, but its soft sheets of fabric cover the entire wall's nakedness.
The fourth session before lunch had a panel discussion on poetry and other arts. It was chaired by George Zertis from the UK.
I grew up in a village where there were no arts, but just one art. It was, depending on the rituals or seasons. It could be poetry and dance, or poetry and dance and painting, or at the sowing season or reaping season.
My grandfather was playing the violin, and I remember being like 3 or 4 years, and it was not playing often, very rare, and he was like preparing to play very slowly and doing this and I remembered when he started to play that I understood the meaning of the word beautiful. The word beautiful was filled with meaning in that moment when my grandfather started to play. And that's, maybe everything started there also. It can be so easy or so complex.
The session had an audience interaction as well with poets Philip Nikolev, Les Wicks, Ingrid Storholmen and Balachandra Nibade talking about their artistic influences and the process of creative development of their work.
I'm sorry, but I didn't bring those poems where I'm working most with this designer. But it's important for me to see the poem as I was talking about this, looking upon the paper as a stage where you can put the people talking to each other, and you can see, and you can use many different ways of showing differences.
If I may answer, those are sort of technological questions, really. Poetry doesn't die. Poetry has been there since the first person opened their mouths. Poetry will continue, whether we as poets, whether our publishers, whether our media appearances, whether our livings are going to be guaranteed. Of course not. I mean, people have been talking about the death of the novel. Do you think the novel is dead now? It's a theoretical question, but different traditions exist. I have no fears about the death. I know the article. I'm sure in about 10 years' time we'll get another one, and 10 years' time another one, and they'll still be asking the same question.
The fifth session post-lunch was chaired by Lorna Shaughnessy from Ireland and had readings by poets Oscar Cruz from Cuba, Maram Al-Masri from France, and Shafi Shauk from India.
النساء مثلي لا يعرفن الكلام. الكلمة تبقى في الحلق كالشوكة يفضلن بلعها.
The day the tide turned at her feet, she discovered her true nature. A mirror flashed, a silver tail flipped, and she swam into her element. Now, waves swell in her blue-green eyes. Her ear strains to catch her sister's song, and salt dries in the hollow prints where she walks. Pearls scatter in her hair to crown the changeling, and call to mind an older charm, the call, a sign this child would never drown. But her life bore a closer resemblance to a hilltop bog, and the people in it, eggs laid by songbirds on the ground, invisible to the human eye, yet utterly exposed. That relationships were all about picking steps across that bog without disturbing any nests.
We have requested Mr. Nicola Maziro to chair this session. I request
the sixth session in the afternoon had Nicola Madzirov in the chair and had readings by Ingrid Storholmen from Norway, Moya Cannon from Ireland, and Sheen Kaf Nizam from India.
I just want to say what an enormous pleasure and privilege it is to be here in the country, or I suppose I should say the subcontinent of Galib and Mirabai, and of course your great Tagore, who is so admired by our own national poet, W.B. Yeats. I certainly did not think when I was an undergraduate reading the Bhagavad Gita in Dublin 40 years ago that I would find myself in New Delhi reading poetry. I'd like to thank all of the people who've worked so very, very hard to bring this festival together. The unexpected tide, the great wave, uncontained, breasts the rock, overwhelms a heart in spring or winter. Surfacing from a fading language, the word comes when needed. A dark sound surges and ebbs, its accuracy steadying the heart. Certain kernels of sound reverberate like seasoned timber, unmuted truths of a people's winters, stirrings of 1,000 different springs.
For lenge siden, og ganske snart, kan dette skje. A long time ago, and quite soon, can this happen? To be reached by love. Can you fold me out? In. Yes, like flowers, like summer.
One day, someone will fold our blankets and send them to the cleaners to scrub the last grain of salt from them. We'll all